Shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. I'm gonna add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoop Jargon. Shout out to
Hoop Jargon.
Shout out to Hoop Jargon. Shout out to Between the Game Sports.
Yes, sir.
Representing, man. Appreciate y'all early birds in the chat. Early birds out here. To see y'all with the great debate, man. So I know a lot of people have been covering what's going on with the HBCU world now that the football games are complete. So now we got to shake out who is the best of the best. So, I'm representing Bowie State today, and we're going to have a special guest, if you guys do not know. My good friend, Antone Sewell, will come on and talk about why Bowie State should be in the recognition category. So I know most of y'all tuned in are SWAC fans. I know y'all ain't trying to hear that. I'm telling you, Antone going to come bring that heat. What you got Between the Game Sports?
Man, not much. Let's get it, man. This is a great topic. I had to put the headphones on today so I can hear myself clearly. Man, it's a toss-up, man. It's of course you have Jackson State with folks who believe were the best, but they got drugged in the Celebration Bowl, and so
let me help you. They got their ass whooped.
They got
Jackson State.
I Love got punished in the Celebration Bowl. The FAMU claiming that they're national champions. You got Bowie State, and you got Alabama A&M, and anybody and everybody. So this is a great topic. Let's get to it.
I'm gonna say this, man. If we're gonna go over the top 5 poll, and I'm gonna go over the article that's kind of sparking this debate. My thing is, if Alabama, I get they got to kill Glass. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Prairie View should be over Alabama State. Alabama A&M. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It goes back to that case where, like, when Nick Saban is it Nick Saban? Somebody was like, if you don't win your conference title or whatever, how can you be in a discussion of a national champion or the college football playoff?
That's fair.
So they didn't win their side, and they got blasted by Jackson State. I mean, absolutely. And that was a game that everybody wanted to see, and they thought Alabama A&M was going to bring it, but they got the doors blew off of them.
And their coach was talking that shit the year before. So you set your team up to be the next incumbent great team. You talking that shit, and you didn't deliver, man. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Coach Sewell's going to join us at the 30-minute hour. So, in 27 minutes, Coach Sewell's going to hop on. But I do want to lay the groundwork before he comes in. And so, I know y'all going to trickle in a little later. These lives do pretty well in general.
Mm-hmm.
So, appreciate all y'all who patronize me in Between the Game Sports page. So, as y'all know, in the HBCU Legends article, there's been a great debate going on. It said, who won the 2021 National Championship? So I want to go over this real quick so we can kind of set backdrop to what's going on as far as the whole discussion. So further in the article, let's see. I'm trying to sync this up with what I have going on mine. Okay, is that the right one? That's the one with the handshake. Sorry, y'all. I got the lack of graphics. There we go. Who won the 2021 HBCU National Championship? So it shows, again, with Deion Sanders taking that gracious L that he took the other day.
Mm-hmm.
And the family divided. Okay, let's find the proper one here. I'm using my phone. So it says, many believe a Jackson State victory in the Celebration Bowl would have made the proclaiming 2021 HBCU National Championship simple. They did not win. Yes, Jackson State losing just mucked this whole thing up, and we thought the world to be gravity. We don't understand gravity anymore. Molecules, they distributed. So now we don't really know. So South Carolina decisively won, aka whooped their ass, and earned the right to claim the national championship. Now the HBCU football family is divided. Is it South Carolina State or Jackson State? Should it be Bowie State or the Rattlers of FAMU? The HBCU media has split the emotions and loyalties, creating a debate. It is time to render a fair and objective decision. Yes. So I like how it sets the backdrop, because before this, we just knew how it was gonna go. I mean, we knew what it was. It was nothing to talk about beyond that point. Let's see. So yeah, so they do on there. So let's slide up a little bit. I'm sorry, y'all. We building while we fly here. Let's see. All right, the one with Coach. Was it Coach Poe?
Yeah, South Carolina.
All right, there we go. So here's the second part of it. So we cannot overlook the obvious. Who won and who didn't. Buddy Poe and Deion Sanders had a job to do. Each head coach, assistant coach, and member of the staff expected to prepare South Carolina State and Jackson State's football team members for one goal to win. Okay, that's a little fight. I mean, we all understand that. Fulfill mission. Let's go past that. You know, we're going to slide through this. Let's get to the part that actually matters. The part that they actually put the top 5 teams. They got South Carolina State Bulldogs at number 1, Jackson State Tigers at number 2. I don't think after this last Saturday, I don't think anybody will argue that. But then Florida A&M creeps in. Now, if you remember, this debate came from, I don't know if you've been seeing, Will, FAMU has been saying that they're the champions. Even though y'all lost to Jackson. Yikes.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that just on the onset, man?
As far as a program standpoint, I understand where they're coming from, but they didn't get the job done. The great debate, if you don't win your conference, how can you claim that you're part of the national title situation? And FAMU had a really, really good season. I believe they finished off 7-2. They had 3 guys. I believe it was 3 guys on first team all SWAC. One guy, and I think his last name is Land.
That's their best player.
Yeah, he finished number 1 in sacks. And that's no matter where you playing at. If you can finish number 1 in a category, and especially a category like sacks, I mean, you're a hell of a player. And so their defense was finished, I believe, top 10, a couple of spots behind Jackson State in the FCS polls as far as total defense. They had a really good season, but they did not win their conference. And so even though they can say, well, we played Jackson State the first game of the season, we didn't really know who we were or whatever. But they didn't win it. You have in football, every game counts, and not like in basketball, you can kind of figure yourself out. You have to be ready from the jump. In football, college football, high school football, NFL, whatever it may be, you have to be ready from the jump to get things done. And they lost 76 against Jackson State in the opening weekend of their program. It is what it is. So I can't. I don't. What spot are they at? 3, 4?
You speaking about
FAMU.
FAMU's number 3.
Number 3. Okay, I can go with that. I give them that. They had a chance, and then they made the FCS playoffs because how the SWAC has their things set up where you cannot go over to.
You can't play both.
Yeah, you can't play both. Yeah. So, and then they ended up losing to Southeast Louisiana or whatever like that. So I can go with 3. 3 is good in my book.
3 is good enough, man. So man, shout out to Antone Bailey says there's been a history of split national champions in black college football for decades. I'm with that. But we want to try to kind of defeat that. We want to have a definitive number 1. That's what we hope to achieve with this live because, I mean, anybody can say it. Like UCF saying that they're the national champions because they were undefeated, but you're playing a schedule that's not even close to the actual champion. So we're trying on this poll, on this stream, to have a definitive national champion of the HBCU world. Antone Bailey also says Bowie State won mid-major D2 national title. Absolutely. They actually won 3 in a row. They Bowie State got some stuff going. That's why I'm repping Bowie State Day. And I can't wait to Coach Sewell. Y'all hold on. At the 30-minute mark, in 15 minutes, we bring Coach Sewell on. Coach Sewell, y'all gonna like how he led his argument. I promise you're gonna like it. The GOAT says, salute Hoop Jargon in between the game sports. Hey man, I saw pictures. Search and Deli in the center. Shout out to Ghost, man.
Ghost out of there. Let me give him a sound effect.
I'm about to put you in timeout. Okay. You got the.
We stepping up, man. They're working over here, man.
There you go. So let's talk about it, man. So you know what? Let's go ahead and recap the game. I mean, we saw Jackson coming out heavy-handed. They looked good early. It was supposed to be a classic. coronation, as it were, for Dion to kind of just capstone this great year. And it didn't happen that way. So what are some of your takeaways, man, of just early first half football for that SC State and Jackson State game?
What I saw, and I did that game, and had a lot of people. Shout out to the people that came through and rocked from the start to the finish, man. I know you peeked in, peeked out, but it was I really enjoyed the game, especially the first half. Second half you could tell that their spirit was gone. That swagger wasn't there anymore. But that first half was very, very competitive. Jackson State had a chance to go ahead and shut the door from the rip.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina State went their first 4 drives of 3 and out. First 4 drives of 3 and out.
You're supposed to put them away.
You're supposed to put them away. And you got stuff going. Warren Newman, my guy was getting it done early. He was getting it done early. And they had a chance to go up early, and they just couldn't. I don't know what it was. The rhythm wasn't there, but
not taking the field goals as well, man. Points matter, dog.
Yeah,
you gotta demoralize them.
In a bowl game, you take all points that are available.
The points, man.
You take all points that are available because, again, like we said in the last stream, you can't hold anything back, man. And I seen some trick plays. I seen some different things. But shout out to South Carolina State's cornerbacks.
Yeah, they played their ass off.
Malik Wyman was a no-show. Keith Corbin III was a no-show. And these are guys, Keith Corbin III, this was his last go-around. He didn't get the job done. And shout out to their defensive line. They were able to rush 4 or 5 guys and still able to get pressure on Shedeur. And Shedeur really looked uncomfortable from the start.
Absolutely.
I mean, he looked like a freshman quarterback. And I don't want to use that as an excuse because I've been praising him all year as being a freshman quarterback. But he looked bad. He really looked like he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't look like he understood the defense. He wasn't reading it well. I don't know if the moment was too big or they didn't get enough rest. I don't know what it may have been, but Jackson State didn't look good. And shout out to the person that hit me on my stream. I can't think of his name. He was like, man, I'm listening to you guys and listening to you, and you keep talking about you letting inferior teams stick around and this and that. He's like, man, y'all must don't know about South Carolina State. Looking on paper, South Carolina State looked like the inferior team or the lesser talented team. Well, your record is 76.
Common opponents. Opponents kind of told the story that it was an inferior opponent.
Yeah, so that's where we got that from. That's where I got it from. But, Jackson State didn't play well. And then with football, any given Saturday or Sunday, you can lose, man. So if you don't bring your A game off the rip, you can lose. And so, what's his name? Buddy Coach Poe had a great game plan, had his guys right, and you called it about leaving his guys on the bus and keeping them focused, keeping that
bunker mentality.
Yeah, very bunker-like mentality. And they got the job done. And so it was 31-10, and it was, probably couldn't have been worse than that. And Shaq Davis showed out. I mean, he looked like Plaxico Burress out there.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like Plaxico Burress out there. Big, tall. What's the other kid name from Michigan State? Is it Charles Rogers?
Yeah, Charlie Rogers. Yeah.
Something like that. He looked like the combination of those two guys. And so he just boosted his stock. I mean, shout out to him.
Well, yeah, and again, man, I've seen the bunker mentality work. And so once I heard about he holding the guys on the bus, I was like, okay. He's changing the paradigm of the mental game. And guys, in sports, this exists. I remember my junior year, we beat Grambling. We had one win in conference, like the second to last game. Grambling was the number 1 team in conference. We beat Grambling on ESPN. And we had that bunker mentality. Like, we literally was just like, because the first game we lost a close one at Grambling. Mm-hmm. And we almost got in a fight. Our coach, I'll say his name, Coach Hawkins, almost got in a fight with one of the persons in the stands. Coach Hawkins is hilarious, man. Going back to dark days. Anywho, you know what I'm saying? So we already had bad blood with Grambling, right? Mm-hmm. So once we played them at home on ESPN, we kind of just took in that underdog bunker mentality, and we beat them on national television when we should not have beat Grambling. That's when we had Breon Rush, Dre Ratliff. They had a very, very good team. Breon Rush went on to be a high-profile professional at the time, the second leading scorer in America at the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we was playing against, right? So when I saw SC do that, I was like interested because you know what, football is, well, sports in general, very much physical, but the mental game is a big aspect as well. So if you can mold your guys the proper way and to get them to lock in, you leave yourself open to have good things happen. And again, with Jackson not taking those points, you make that bunker mentality thrive more. Like, I believe now. You know, no copyright infringement. They believe now.
Exactly.
You're hanging around, and you know, after a while, you start to say, "These dudes ain't that damn good." I lace my cleats up just like him, and after that, you start playing out your mind. Again, Shaq was out there killing, right? And the quarterback, I forget the brother Collins.
Fields. He looked awful at the beginning.
He looked horrible, horrible. And he finally got the shit together. Why? Because you look up, oh shit, 7-7. I mean, I can dig out of this. But if you're down 13-0, you're down 10-0, it does different to your psychological aspect as far as competition is concerned. So I think that Jackson had a big oversight on the opponent by not taking those points and by letting South Carolina State hang around. And after they hung around, they went back into they rested, and then what they've been doing all year is being the underdog, coming in, scraping and clawing. And once they got back in that mode, it was over. Yeah, it was over.
Jackson State deserved to lose that game. Again, if you don't, you have to punish the little fella. And we all hear the stories about us against the world type of mentality. It works. There's a lot of times that it doesn't work, but it works, especially in football, in my opinion. And so when the coach Buddy, whatever his name is, Coach Poe, I believe, Pough, when he was able to figure out what he wanted to do with his team, and this is just based off experience, because I believe he's been coaching for over 30 years. So he's seen it all, he's done it all. So he knows about the hoopla, he knows about playing it down and this and that. But he made his team believe, like, okay, nobody in the world expects us to win, but however many guys are on the roster, 90 something in college or whatever it may be, it's us against all of Atlanta, all of Jackson, all of Mississippi, all of America. They expect us to get our butt kicked, and he basically put that confidence into his guys, saying, hey, we can get this job done. We're here too. We're not here by accident. We won our conference just like they won their conference. And so it worked. And they neutralized James Houston. They neutralized Aubrey Miller, Keontae Hampton. These guys were a no-show. I mean, absolutely all freaking game. My headphones keep acting up. Their offensive line just got the job done. And like you said, once Fields got comfortable, he was able to just throw it up. And Shaq Davis looked like he was about 6'4", 6'5". And that's pretty much what they did. And then in the second half, they ran great route combinations. They had a lot of times they had trips on the left, and they had a guy going middle, guy running the post, and guy running like a little dig route. I mean, they just played well in the second half, and so you have to give them their just due when you win. I don't want to hear people saying that Jackson State didn't play a good game, but it's because of what South Carolina State did. You have to give the opposing team, if you're a fan,
credit. Absolutely,
you have to give them their credit, and that's just what it is, man. That's what happened.
Well, and also Jackson State with the same trope all year long. These damn penalties, man. It look like my damn Cowboys, man. Just untimely penalties, and these things are gonna stagnate your progress because it just seemed like every time they had something going, here come a penalty, taking them right back, and they back in in the good old punting formation, and you cannot have that, especially at this level. Like you're talking about a championship game on ABC. This is it. Yeah. There's nothing else. Like your whole season, damn near don't matter at this point. And they just going back into that same. Well, in sports, generally speaking, the more things change, they stay the same. So the same thing that got you there is the same thing is what you're gonna do when you get there, and that's what Jackson did, man. Just turn the ball over untimely, putting himself in bad positions, third and longs, and you can't convert those so easily, especially with an inspired defense with South Carolina State, which we did overshoot. I'll give myself the smoke. I predicted an ass whooping. I predicted Jackson to give a tremendous ass whooping. And that did not happen, man. So shout out to Primetime, man. Said, I love Jackson State University Tigers. Good evening, everyone. And I got Coach Sewell in the back room, man. So he about ready to rock.
He coming. He coming.
Driving, man. We gonna bring him in about 10 minutes.
He coming. And dang, I lost my train of thought. Jackson State. Oh, like they say, the same thing make you laugh, make you cry. And Jackson State pretty much had the mentality. I think this is what I think. Man, we've been doing this all year. We've been having bad first halves, penalties after penalties, and somehow, some way, we have overcome that and got to the Celebration Bowl. But sometimes things just come to bite you in the ass, man. And that's exactly what happened, in my opinion. And they weren't able to get that big play. It's usually when they're playing bad, they usually get one big play out of like Malachi Wyman or Keith Corbin, and it changes the momentum of the game. And it just didn't happen. Shadori was usually able to get a long pass to somebody over the top, or Santee Marshall would do something, or what's the big guy's name? Big running back. I can't think of his name right now. It's slipping my mind. But offensively, they were just bad, man. And then the defense, when you have a tired defense, Same thing goes in basketball. When your defense is tired, at some point you're going to give up offensive points. And then, South Carolina State was in great field position all second half. They ran a couple of plays, and next thing you know, they're throwing it up to Shaq Davis. I mean, absolutely. That's all it did. That's pretty much the second half. Anybody that didn't see the game, that's exactly what happened in the second half.
No, that's absolutely true. And so the field position battle is big, especially again because it was a slow start. So I think it was 10-7 at halftime, right? Yeah. So South Carolina State was thanking their lucky stars that was in that game, and nonetheless to be up, for that matter. So it was very telling that the stick around thing was going on, and they couldn't. Jackson just couldn't put their foot on their throat. Again, in my opinion, if you take those field goals early, you eliminate. Yeah, you eliminate that how can I say it? That momentum that bunker mentality can create. And again, I said this about Prairie View. I thought that mentality would let Prairie View beat Jackson State if their run game was established, which did not happen. But Dion is that kind of guy, man. He's that kind of guy. Like, we gonna beat our chest, we gonna kick ass and take names. Not necessarily the conservative type. Whereas Coach Poe, that's just who he is. Taking that blue collar worker, that plumber mentality, and took that into grind out a game. And then when the doors blew off, Yeah. Jackson had nothing else. And it's funny. I literally predicted Prairie View to beat Jackson the way that South Carolina State beat them. And I guess it kind of shows I was a week late with that assertion. But you can't overcome a flashy type team if you choke them out. Yeah. And you have a slow game, an ugly, muddy game, and then you choke them out late. And that's exactly what South Carolina State doing. I got to give them all the props because, all the normal cliches where you say, well, if you're playing well late, you win. And then all that stuff. Jackson was playing late, good late. They're on a 9-game winning streak. South Carolina State, I know that was their rally cry, being on that big winning streak in the MEAC or what have you, even the abbreviated MEAC. So you had power versus power. I just think Jackson missed on a lot of opportunity to just demoralize him by putting points on the board because they try to go big like Dion would go. He wasn't gonna go for the tackle. He go for the interception every time. And that kind of thing is feast of famine, man. It's feast of famine.
And what happened was in the Prairie View game, Juwan pass, they get backed up. Jackson State had great defensive field position. And so Juwan pass makes I don't know what he did, but Jackson State ended up getting a pick 6. And that was pretty much ball game. And that's what I said in the Celebration Bowl. If Jackson State would have came up with one of those pick 6s, because they had an interception in the first half, and they had a couple of more, which was negated. One was negated by a penalty. If they could have capitalized on that and got a pick 6 on that, I believe that game is over with in the first quarter. But
yeah, for sure.
That's how the game goes sometimes. And so with that being said, South Carolina State has a right to claim to be the national champion. Even though their record isn't the best, but they finished the season on a 6 or 7 game win streak. I believe they were like 8-6 overall, or 7-5. 7-5, I believe, is what they finished at. They won their last 6 games. I think they started off like 1-4 or 1-5 or something like that. So they have a right to claim that, because everybody had self-proclaimed Jackson State to be the national champion, especially if they won the Celebration Bowl in outright fashion with no controversialness, anything of that nature. If they'd have blown South Carolina State out, this wouldn't even be a conversation.
It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be at all. But this, the fact that it is a conversation. Yeah, and I want to point out too, they also had a ranking for the top coaching staffs. Let's see, what's the staff on that? Yeah, so the top coaching staffs they have in this same article is Jackson State been number 1, Florida A&M number 2, Prairie View A&M University. I know Jackson State people, y'all don't like the D, you know, y'all stole that from Ohio State, but you know, we'll leave that out the chat. Bowie State, and then South Carolina State. So it seemed like they just kind of remixed the same, the popular names, which I think PV should have been in that top discussion. And also the top 5 head coaches. Let me go to that as well. Deion Sanders, obviously, at Jackson State. Damon Wilson at Bowie State. Now, that's very controversial, man. I think Coach Pohlman has something to say about that. So Coach Pohl being at number 3. Willie Simmons at Florida A&M, formerly from Prairie View A&M University, let me say, and Eric Dooley at Prairie View A&M as well. So it's funny, Prairie View got a lot of love from the coaching standpoint, but not in the ranking standpoint via this poll. So I got to point that out as we go forward. Let's see. Real Talk says Bowie State and the MEAC. Yeah, so we're about to get to Bowie State. Coach Sewell is going to join us. He said in 5 minutes he'll be ready to go. So we're going to get him on. But, yeah, so because I love the fact that, you know, the SWAC and the MEAC, we're the biggest entities in the HBCU world. But a lot of people sleep on the CIAA, man. A lot of people sleep on the CIAA. So I want to give Coach Sewell's perspective, because, again, they're building something special over there. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, Bowie State has won 3 championships in a row. And they basically get that out the mud out there. That's their mentality all the way. We talk about that bunker mentality. Bowie State lives in that. I've actually got a chance to visit the campus, and you know, it's out there right outside of Baltimore, right there in Maryland. I forget the city. Maybe it's Bowie. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I've been there before. I actually interviewed. This is my 3rd time having Coach Sewell on the show. And it's a small school, man. It's not huge. But I saw the connection that Coach Sewell had with his kids, man. And those kids are really locked in, because I don't know, in that Baltimore area, man, there ain't a lot of opportunity, man.
It's bad out there, man.
It's bad out there, man. And what I've seen is the connection they have with those kids of pulling them out those destitute situations and giving them like this football life as something that can get you somewhere else in life. I do respect that program. And again, I'm just privileged to see that on a more intimate level than most other situations. But I do got to give Coach Sewell and Coach Davis, I believe.
Coach Wilson is the head
coach.
Coach
Wilson, I'm so sorry.
Wilson, yeah.
That respect of cultivating that type of mentality in that type of situation out there in Bowie, man. So salute to that program right there as we go forward. So any comments you got about the coaching rankings in that
Yeah. I want to get to that, but first I want to say, man, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And all that stuff, man. You know, I got your back, man. I
appreciate that.
Subscribe, hit that bell button. You know what I'm saying, to both channels. You know what I'm saying. We'll hit y'all with some sound effects every now and then.
Yeah.
And we get it right. You know what I'm saying. You know, get that going.
Yeah. Super chat, cash app, they get you priority. And what's going on? What was that? A saw?
That was a siren. So I've been working on some things, man. I've been working on some things today and late last night.
You got you a soundboard?
No. I found it online, man. Online. I gotta send it to you. I gotta get right. This is late.
I gotta get right, man.
Late last night.
I'm over here slacking in my macking.
So
sipping in my pimping.
Yeah. So, but I will say this about I will start with the coaching staff. I can go with Jackson State because of the situation that they were in with Coach Sanders, Coach Prime being out for almost a month, and his coaching style with T.C. Taylor and Coach Gary Harrell. I hope I'm saying his last name correct. He was the
everybody missing that. Harold. Yeah, whatever.
He was technically the interim coach for Jackson State, and he was able to go out there 3 to 4 weeks in a row and still have his guys perform. Still have his guys go undefeated, still win. And I think they won 2 road games in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that says a lot about the coaching staff, the players, and Coach Sanders, again, picking the right guys to be underneath him. And so I'm going to go with that because of the unforeseen circumstances that they had with their head coach being out. I've said this in multiple streams. There's nothing like having your head coach there. It's totally different when your assistant coach is running practice and your head coach is running practice. It's totally different, man. It's just like having a stepdad and then
it's like the inmates running the asylum. Yeah, like, oh, okay. Oh, head coach ain't here today. Yeah,
like you can get away with a little bit more, but it's just a testament to the program and what they're building at Jackson State. So I can give them that. Head coaching wise, I don't know. Coach Poe definitely outcoached Coach Sanders in the Celebration Bowl. He took his team from 1-4. To keep your guys focused and understanding what the moment is, and understand you have to win your conference. Damn your non-conference record. Even though you look up, you come to practice every day, man. Damn, we 1-4. We 0-3. Especially in football, it's like, dude, I don't want to be here. I'm over this, man. Season over with, man. Ain't no way we got a chance. But for somehow, some way, Coach Buddy was able to keep his guys focused enough to go out there and win their conference, win the MEAC, and then go out there and dominate the Celebration Bowl. I have to kind of lean with that. I don't know much about Bowie State. I'm definitely, ready to learn. I've seen Coach Wilson. I think his first name is Damon. Coach Damon Wilson over at Bowie State has done a tremendous job. He's won 3 straight CIAA championships. They went on like a 8-game win streak. They haven't lost a home conference game in like 5 or 6 years or something like that.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. That's nuts.
It's I guess pick your poison. I mean, pick who you like. So I'm leaning towards Coach Poe because of what he did in the Celebration Bowl, and for me, it's like, what have you done for me lately? He outcoached Coach Sanders. He outcoached Dion in the Celebration Bowl. So that stigma is still in my mind. It's still fresh. So I'm leaning towards him, but I understand why the writers went with Coach Sanders. They're the talk of the town.
So what do you think about Coach Simmons's record or resume at FAMU? Putting up a solid season too. So again, this has kind of started the debate with them saying that that they have the crown as far as being the champions, actually having lost to Jackson State. But what they can hang their hat on is they beat the shit out of South Carolina State. So I'm sure that's what they hanging their hat on. So yeah. How do you feel about that?
Like I said before, they can have their claim, but it's still hard for me to give them their credit. But I'll give Coach Simmons his credit because we have to remember that they just switched conferences. They are new to the SWAC. So of course, everybody's like, man, who are these guys? They may have heard about them. They might have heard about FAMU, the Rattlers. And shout out to Texas Rattlers, where we used to be on back in the day.
Texas Rattlers.
You designed it, I think.
I did, man. I designed a logo for was it AAU?
It was AAU, man.
Traveling, whatever you want to call it back then.
So and so they came over to the SWAC. Unfortunately, they had their first game against Jackson State, but they still had a chance to win that game. They only lost 7-6. So I can understand why they can beat their chest a little bit, man. And like you said, they beat the hell out of South Carolina State. So, again, who do you like? Well, pick your poison.
So, Royal Perspective says the record does not tell the whole story. We played Clemson and New Mexico State in a close loss at North Carolina A&T. Yeah, I'm with that. Clemson, that's what you call a guarantee game. That's a game you are designed to lose. And you take a big lump of money home for that L. So that's okay. I get that. New Mexico State, you guys played them well as too. I think y'all lost by like 6 that game, so I'll give you credit for that. North Carolina A&T, I'll give you that as well. To trump Florida A&M's overall record, having beat you guys, I don't know if I can trump that. And as far as what Jackson State has done overall, it still leaves room for debate. But at the end of the day, head to head, y'all beat Jackson State when it mattered, and I give a lot of weight to that. When everything's on the line, you guys showed up and y'all put y'all lunch pail on, and y'all beat their ass. And I'm not gonna dismiss that ever, because that is literally how you determine who the best team is when you beat them when it matters. We see it all the time. What they say in football, the hardest thing to beat a team how many times? Well, any sport.
Any sport, at least twice, man. That's why
it's hard to beat them twice.
That's why college basketball is so hard, man.
Absolutely. So
very hard.
It's hard. Well, I think 3 times is the statement.
Three.
So you can sweep somebody. Go ahead.
If we want to talk about records, so although South Carolina State beat Jackson State, pretty well, Jackson State was 11-2. They lost. Their only loss was to a FBS school and ULM, which they only lost 12-7.
Hold on, I think Coach Sewell ready. Let's bring him in.
Ready? Let's get it.
Let's bring him in. Bring him out. Bring him out. Hard to yell with the barrels in your mouth. Coach Sewell, what's up, man?
What's up? What's up? I almost said what's up, Cliff, but I see that have you legally changed your name, or are you the artist formerly known as Cliff? Like, how does this work?
You know what's funny? I got a package today, and it said Hoop Jargon on my package. So, your statement is more prophetic than you know.
Only you, man. Only you.
So, man, shout out to Coach.
Man. Either way, man. Either way, I appreciate it.
So, man,
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you, bro. So, go on.
Okay. I think is it a delay?
Yeah, it's a little bit of delay. I'm gonna shut up and let you talk. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Is it? All right. So I came on kind of in the middle of you guys' discussion. As I told you earlier, I had to go to the barber shop, and I definitely have a black barber. So my 2 o'clock appointment turned into about a 2:30 start time. So I'm literally just getting out of the barber shop about 10 minutes ago from a 2 o'clock appointment. But that's neither here nor there. Couple of things I want to touch on that I did hear you guys talk about before I kind of talk a little bit more about Bowie State. It's Coach Buddy Pugh, first and foremost. Put some respect on the legend's name, Coach Buddy Pugh. And we are in Bowie, Maryland. But it's really Bowie is in PG County. Most people know PG County now from Kevin Durant's documentary, Something in the Water. And PG County is actually the richest predominantly black county in the entire United States. Even with that being said, we do have a lot of young men that come from Baltimore, that come from DC, that come from some of the surrounding counties and cities around Bowie that don't necessarily come from the best circumstances. And as you mentioned, Cliff, we're able to get them to realize that football is a way for them. Not just every young athlete has dreams of playing professionally, whether it be in the NFL or the NBA, whatever the case may be. But we just try to get our guys to understand, man, utilize it as an opportunity to get an education, make some connections, and we try to teach them some of the things that they're going to need in terms of being successful men through football. Far as like, when you come into our locker room, we have I don't want to say a sign, it's like a felt display on the locker room wall that says Bulldog Pride, but then it has a bunch of words around it, and those are words that require no talent. One of the things that we try to emphasize as a program is, and I'll get into a little bit more, but we don't have a lot of the things that the other teams have. Like an article recently came out when Winston-Salem hired their coach, and it talked about, what our scholarship number was, and I had people calling and text me like, man, there's no way. I'm like, yeah, like that's an accurate number. But one of the things that we try to get our guys to understand is, man, like, regardless of what we don't have, like, there's certain things that as young men and as men that we all can control, and we want to make sure that we're the absolute best at those things on a day-to-day basis, things like accountability, responsibility, hard work, integrity, certain things that you don't necessarily think of when you think of a good football team or good football player, but we understand that, those principles and those values are what helps us win games a lot of times. Just wanted to kind of set the record straight on a couple of those things. But I don't know where you want me to start. I guess I'll start with the whole HBCU National Champion thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the very first thing I want everybody to do, I want you. Go ahead.
Yeah, before you go, I want people to understand again what y'all have done in Bowie, because most people who follow us follow the SWAC, they follow the MEAC. So I want people to understand at the CIAA level what y'all go through, because for the audacity to be in this conversation to a lot of people, I want you to kind of level set what you guys have done with that program beyond making better men, that's supposed to be number one. But what y'all done in this field to be in this discussion, I want you to talk about that, Coach.
All right, let me ask real quick. If I slide my screen up, let me ask you something. Can you still hear me and see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't see you.
Cliff.
I hear you. I can't see you.
You say you can't? Okay, hold on 1 second. All right. So I had a kind of a graphic that one of our coaches made not too long ago that I was going to share with you, but on the top of my head, like, as you mentioned, 3 straight CIAA championships. First time that's been done since Hampton back in the 90s. And a lot of people who know Hampton don't even know Hampton from being in the CIAA. Most people kind of got into the HBCU football game when Hampton was already in the MEAC. So no one has won 3 straight CIAA championships since Hampton during the in the early 90s. 5 out of the last 6 CIAA Northern Division championships. 5 out of the last 6 years qualifying for the NCAA playoffs. The last 4 years actually hosting the first round of the NCAA playoffs, which, as you all know, you have to be a higher seed. You have to be one of the top 4 seeds to host a playoff game. And we essentially play in the region with what is considered the SEC of Division II, which is the Gulf South Conference. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
The Gulf South Conference has Valdosta State, West Alabama, West Georgia, Delta State, a bunch of teams that have won a lot of NCAA national championships, and we've been able to still be one of the top teams in our region on a year in year out basis over the last 4 or 5 years. This past season we actually hosted the first 2 rounds of the playoffs in Bowie, won both of those games, qualified for, made it all the way to what is essentially Division II's version of the Elite 8, the NCAA National Quarterfinals, where we unfortunately lost to Valdosta, who ended up making it all the way to the National Championship for the second time in the last 3 seasons. We were eliminated by them. 2 years ago, they won the National Championship after eliminating us. So, and like I said, this year they were the national runner-up. But even when you go more into the numbers, we are 47-5 over the last. I want to say over the last maybe 4 or 5 years. We have not lost a home conference game since 2014.
Damn.
In the CIAA, and we haven't lost. Yeah, we've only lost 3 home games overall since 2016, and 2 of those 3 were playoff games.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Actually, yes, 2 or 3 were playoff games. One to Delta State and one to Carson Newman. And CIAA game, whether home or road, since I want to say 2018. We lost to Shawan in I think October. So we've won I think 21 or 22 straight CIAA games when you include the CIAA championship. So it's the thing I've been trying to tell people. And there was a great article that came out the other day. Is when you want to talk about who should be crowned the HBCU champions, if you're going to exclude Bowie from the conversation, find something other than but their D2 to say.
You know what?
When you take the fact that we're Division II team.
Let me say this. This is important because again, most people who see because what you're saying is prophetic because what FBS school says about FCS school, but y'all won AA, but y'all FCS. And what you're proving is that FCS schools will look down on D2 when if you level set it properly, if you level set the consistency, it ain't the degree of separation ain't what you think. And so I wanna preface that the right way as you keep cooking, man, because I respect your program so much and I love the opportunity to have to come there. You showed me the campus, you showed me how you interact with your boys and how you guys make it work for what you got to work with. But when it's time for Saturday, you know, everybody is the same, everybody equal. So I want everybody, again, mostly a SWAC audience, to understand this level is a high level too.
Yeah, let me ask this.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
So this is BTG, man. This Cliff is my boy, man. We
man, it's my high school teammate, Sewell, right here.
Known each other forever, man. And so I've done my research, man. Y'all haven't lost, y'all win streak is at 18 games since October 6, 2018.
That's nasty.
Very, very nasty. So
right.
I want to ask you, how did you guys establish this? How do you guys continue to get your guys up for a conference game every single weekend, knowing that this win streak is on the line? Because you know, everybody knows that your win streak is there. How do you guys prepare you guys to say, hey, this team this week is not going to be the one to end our streak?
That's a great question.
To be honest, like we don't talk about it. We talk about like our goal, and it sounds cliche, but our goal is to win a national championship every year. Every year we come in, but we understand that in order to win a national championship, we have to do like we did this year. We have to be the number 1 or number 2 seed in our region. In order to be the number 1 or number 2 seed in our region, we have to win our conference, and we have to essentially win every Division II game that we play, because we know that there's going to be 1 or 2 teams in our region who have 1 loss or 0 losses. So we can't afford to lose a game and still reach our goals. So essentially, not to diminish anyone or anything related to the CIAA, but it's one of those things we understand, hey, we have to win. We have to beat everybody on our schedule in order for us to get to where we're trying to get to. See, because they'll still use the whole strength of schedule argument against us. We were our only loss this past season in the regular season was to Delaware State, who's an FCS program. But so for Division II, let me go back a little bit. So for Division II, how it works is like as Cliff mentioned earlier, a lot of times the smaller schools we play guarantee games or money games. Some Division II schools will play multiple money games per year. Well, it helps you from a resource standpoint, but as far as the playoffs are concerned, the NCAA only considers your Division II opponents on your record that counts towards the playoffs. So even though we played a 10-game regular season and then an 11th game in the CIAA championship, they're only basically using the 10 Division II games we played for our record. So we understand that like this year we were actually 10-0 from a Division II standpoint going to the playoffs. Valdosta State was 9-1 and actually lost by almost 3 touchdowns in the last game of the season, and still ended up being the number 1 seed in our region because the NCAA selection committee still has their strength of schedule higher than us. And obviously they say it's a formula, but we know at the end of the day when you put humans in a room, human nature and people's opinions and so on and so forth are going to come into play. So it's one of those things where it's like, we understand, like, obviously with social media and access to technology, there's no way we can hide that information from our guys, but we try not to emphasize it and talk about it. Like, we try to really, really have a singular focus, and we practice really, really hard, and we meet hard. Like, to be honest with you, it sounds crazy, but like when we meet, we sell a 1-9 team to our guys the same way we sell a 9-1 team to our guys. Excellent. Like we don't if we meet for an hour going into the national championship, we'll meet for an hour playing against a team that hasn't won a game going into the last game of the season. Like it's just a certain level of consistency that we have within our preparation, both in season and off season, that kind of gets those guys to really, really put forth the same effort mentally and physically for every single game.
Love it.
That's a hell of an answer, man.
Love it.
Yeah, that's it's a hell of an answer because it's so nuanced, man. Again, and Sewell, man, I'm so happy to have you because people just don't understand the level of things that you don't accept as the same. So for you to lace it out that way, people get a better scope of like what Division II looks like. Because I'm a culprit of the same thing. When I played basketball, we played a D2 team. I'm like, it's D2. But when I told you we played against Southwestern Assemblies of God, SWAC was named the team. I think they were NAIA. They gave us a hell of a game playing Paul Quinn. Hell of a game. So once you kind of understand the level, you respect the body of work at a higher level, especially D2, because D2, you literally getting guys who just don't qualify for D1.
Absolutely. Sometimes.
You get dudes on that level who just don't qualify for D1. So if we being real.
Bingo. Yeah.
That's facts, man.
Or either don't qualify or may not, or either don't qualify or just may not meet the requirements. And I'm not knocking what anybody does, but every D1 coach, they have a list of things you need. Hey, you got to be this height. You got to run the 40 in this time. You got to weigh this much.
Metrics.
That bull.
We're fortunate enough to just go into a school and say, hey, can the kid play football?
Yeah.
If he can play football, we'll find a place for him most of the time.
That's
yes,
real.
Sir.
That's
yes,
real.
Sir.
That's real.
I've been through that myself, being a chubby guard. They didn't want to give me no look when I got the SFA. And, at the end of the day, kids got to get out there and prove themselves. But I always hate the fact that you got to look a certain way because I look like a football player. Cliff knows. But if you can play, you can play. And that's what I used to try to tell my AAU kids, man. Like, don't worry about if you're not a certain height, if your arms are not this long. If coaches see that you can play, especially nowadays with the Air app and all this other stuff that they got going on Twitter, Huddle, they can see you can play. They're going to find you, man. Just relax and, take care of your business, and you live with the results.
Man, I want to ask this. That's a great point. Sewell, before we go into the actual debate about who's supposed to be the champion of the HBCU world, as it were, do you utilize some of those newer things, man, to recruit kids and what have you, man? And so how does, in a short spectrum, how is your process of bringing kids in, man?
So first and foremost, so the Air app is a real thing. I thought that was just something that Coach 30 uses on his joke.
No, go ahead.
Okay, all right. But man, like it's funny because KJ Black, obviously everybody knows, most people know KJ, the offensive coordinator at FAM. That's my guy. So it's going. I'm going to make sure that once we do actually get to that debate, one thing I'm not going to do, I learned as a man, I'm never going to step on anybody else and try to prop myself up. So I'm not going to talk bad about anybody. But KJ and I always, we'll definitely exchange some jokes back and forth, about who's the champion and so on and so forth. But he and I had a good laugh about it. Maybe about a year ago on Twitter, because man, when you talk about recruiting, like you could post on Twitter, hey man, man, I can't believe I'm on the side of the road with a flat tire, and a kid will comment under, hey man, I'm a 6'1", 180-pound running back from North Carolina. Check my film out. And I'm like, man, it's funny, but man, like you literally get film from kids any and every way possible, all through social media, all up and down your emails. Like the days of guys having to send a film into you through the mail, or send you a DVD or cassette tape, it's long gone. So we find kids every which way possible. Word of mouth goes far with us, because especially now that we're having success, now coaches are calling us, telling us about kids versus before, when you would go into the school and guys would just kind of be like, hey, one thing I learned, and Cliff, I can tell you, when we first got to PV, every school we went into, everybody wanted us to recruit good kids. And when I say good kids, coaches know what I'm saying. We be like, when a coach starts off with, hey, he's a really good kid, there's a butt coming after that. There's a butt coming after that. But we don't get, now we get coaches calling us about kids. Hey, coach, hey, this kid has some FCS offers. He has some, he's getting attention from some lower level FBS schools, but I think he'd be a really good fit for you guys, or I think you guys would be a really good fit for him. And now it's like, okay, so now we're able to kind of, get the pick of the litter, for lack of a better term, in terms of, some kids that probably shouldn't be playing Division II football. And then the transfer portal has been good to us as well. The transfer portal has been really good to us. In my secondary, on our defense this past year, our starting Mike linebacker was a kid that graduated 3.5 years from Georgetown University. Both of my starting safeties were guys that came directly to us from Power 5 schools. One from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and the other one from University of Maryland, College Park. Our starting nickel was a guy who played at UNC Chapel Hill, and then transferred and ended up at Morgan State, and then transferred down to us. So we're not playing like the days of guys just being Division II guys is long gone.
Yeah.
We've got some guys on our team, like this past year, literally every team in the NFL came to watch us practice and watch our film because of the guys we have on our team.
Damn.
That's awesome.
And that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. Like, that a lot of people got that D2 stuff messed up. It's just dudes, transfer guys, or like non-qualifiers, quote unquote, but they can ball. Mm-hmm. So that's the lesson I learned. Like, you can't just judge off the conference affiliation, because when you got guys who sleep between the cracks. Because I learned it. I think I played against Texas Wesleyan. Oh my God, man, they had some dudes. I was like, God damn, I can't do nothing with these dudes. But you learn once you experience it, and I want the audience to understand that these situations exist, man, and that's why I'm so happy to have you on, Coach Sewell, because you live that. You that's literally how you pay your bills, of going through this rigor of having the HBCU part that, again, isn't so sexy, quote unquote, from the SWAC or MEAC perspective, that there's plenty of quality HBCU football outside of this. So I hope y'all taking notes about what's going on at CIAA level.
Yeah, man. Let's get right into it, man. Give us your thoughts on why you guys, Bowie State Bulldogs, should be considered or are the national HBCU champion. Let's jump right into it.
All right. So, and again, like, if you take out the D2 team, right, and you just talk about numbers, right? Mm-hmm. All right. Who won the most games this year? Bowie State. We won 12 games. Mm-hmm. Right? We had it. Not only did we win 12 games, we won 12 games in a row. Right? We won our conference. We won 2 NCAA playoff games. our only loss was to a FCS team, and some people will say, "Oh man, they lost to Delaware State. Delaware State didn't win their conference. Delaware State, I believe, won 5 or 6 games this past year, which was probably the most games they've won in quite a while. And they were, I think they may have finished 3rd or 4th in the MEAC. South Carolina State beat Delaware State by 1 touchdown. We lost to Delaware State by 1 touchdown in the first game of the season. Now, take into consideration the fact that we lost by 1 touchdown after turning the ball over 6 times and being down by 23 points at halftime.
Wow.
And to me, that was attributed to the fact that Delaware State played 5 games in the spring. That was our first time playing a game, scrimmage, or anything since November 2019. So essentially 2 years off. Russ and I'm not taking anything away from Delaware State. They beat us fair and square, but Russ played a major factor into that.
Yes.
So again, won the most games, won our conference for like as you guys mentioned, the 3rd straight time. Won 2 postseason games in the NCAA playoffs. We've only lost to 1 HBCU in the last 3 years. Like, we've only lost to 1 HBCU in the last 3 years. Like, there is nobody who is an HBCU alum or current student who can say that their team beat Bowie State, with the exception of Delaware State this year. So I look at it like, and again, there's a great article that came out, right? People may say, well, there's no way Bowie State can beat South Carolina State, or there's no way Bowie State can beat FAMU, there's no way Bowie State can beat Prairie View or Jackson State or whoever the case may be, right? Okay, but people also thought that there was no way South Carolina State could beat Jackson State. And I look at it like when you talk boxing, first of all, we're talking about a hypothetical championship first. That's first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Because unless you're going to put all HBCUs in a playoff and determine the champion, it's all based on opinion, right? So we're talking about a hypothetical championship, right?
Yeah.
So in boxing, right? In boxing, they had the title of the best pound for pound boxer, right? So right now, let's talk boxing. Who's in that discussion right now? You got Errol Spence, you got Terrence Crawford,
Canelo.
You got Javante Davis, you got Tyson Fury, you got Canelo, right? Those are probably the main. I may be forgetting some guys, but those are like the mainstream guys everybody talks about as the pound for pound best boxers, right? Do you think that Javante Davis is gonna get in the ring and fight Tyson Fury?
Absolutely not.
He can't, right? But
No way.
does that mean that Javante Davis can never be considered as the best pound for pound boxer?
That's fair.
Absolutely.
That's fair.
So again, if I would challenge anybody to say something other than to not say that, well, Bowie State is D2, and tell me how anybody else's resume is better than ours. You talk out of conference. We beat four. I hope I'm not being politically incorrect. We beat 4 of what we consider HBCU world PWIs this year. 4 of them. We beat 4 of them. We beat New Haven at New Haven. We beat those guys, and we really beat them 27-6. They scored a touchdown on the very last play of the game. Like, they called a timeout to run a quarterback sneak and score a touchdown on the very last play of the game. New Haven won their conference and was the number 3 seed in the playoffs in their region. We beat Saginaw Valley State. Saginaw Valley State's only losses this season were to Bowie State, Ferry State, who is the Division II National Champion, and Grand Valley State, who also made it to the playoffs.
That's a great program.
Right? We beat Lenoir-Rhyne and Newberry. Newberry had just beaten West Florida, the defending Division II National Champions, the week before us. Scored 30-something points on West Florida. They scored 10 points on us. Lenoir-Rhyne came into the game averaging almost 40 points a game, scored 10 points on us. So, yes, we lost to Valdosta. People are going to say, wait, you didn't play well against Valdosta. We didn't. Nobody's going to sit here and tell that lie and say we did play well against Valdosta. But outside of our first game and our last game, when you take, we played a dozen games in between those two, and I don't think anybody played better on their level of football than us. And that's just my opinion.
I love it, man. I love it because I'm biased to Prairie View. You know what I'm saying, and that's just facts. I want Prairie View above all. But I learned from covering HBCU sports, man. You got to be objective, and that's why I wanted you to be on here because I know how you are. You drive points home really well, and I want people to experience what I get to talk to you on a personal level. This is how Sewell is all the time, boy. He is turned up. And if y'all don't know, Sewell used to be a coach for Prairie View back in the game, back when I was playing and coaching, and so that's how I know him. Years later, so Sewell has seen it all. So he's not basing it just on. He played football at Bowie, coached at Prairie View under Coach Frazier. Shout out to Coach Frazier. He coaches at University of Maryland right now. So Sewell has been around the block. He's not basing it off of something of ignorance. By ignorance, I mean not knowing. He's seen the levels. He can level set talent, and so he can put a cogent argument together based on what he's seen. And oh, by the way, were you on the staff when we won the SWAC? So,
yes, indeed, I was. That was my first ring. That was my first college championship ring, 2009 Prairie View, where we went up. We beat Alabama A&M in the SWAC championship game in Birmingham.
Absolutely. So this man's won a championship on the SWAC level, so he knows what it looks like.
Yeah, and like I'm saying, like I told somebody the other day, and I engage people. I'm not as bad as like a KD or somebody, but I engage people in healthy debates on social media from time to time, just because a lot of times people talk, like you said, from a one-sided perspective, and and emotions become involved in it, and I just try to offer a different perspective. Like you said, I've coached in the SWAC. My first year coaching, I coached in the SIAC at Fort Valley State. I've never coached in the MEAC, but obviously we have Howard right here, we have Morgan State right here, so I've seen a lot of MEAC football. And there is no doubt in my mind that if you take our current team, we would be at least competitive in those conferences. I'm not going to say we would win the SWAC. I'm not going to say we would win the MEAC. But I think a lot of people just feel like, because Bowie is D2, these teams will mop the floor with Bowie. And that's a hard opinion for me to accept because, again, I know what we have, and most of the people have not. Most people who feel like that have not watched us play. Like, they have not watched us play and have not seen the brand of football that we play. I think that as a coaching staff, we get a lot of credit. Even like you said, like the recent rankings that came out, I think we have the best coaching staff in damn near in all of college football, if you ask me. Just because of what we do with what we're given. But obviously, people aren't going to put that type of respect on little old Bowie State, but I definitely think that people are really, really underestimating how good of a program that we have. Like, not just a team. Like I said, man, like nobody has won more football games on the HBCU level over the past 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody. So it's what we're doing. It's not a fly-by-night flash in the pan type of thing. Like, this is something that we have built, and we come from 3-7 seasons and 5-5 seasons and 4-6 seasons, and all the things that we were doing during those times, it didn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people because we weren't winning, and now they're looking back like, oh, okay, now I see what they were building during that time. And I think that, a lot of people, I think the fans may not know, but I think a lot of coaches in the HBCU circle understand, what we're doing here at Bowie. And like I say, I didn't want to kind of get ahead of myself early on, but the article came out, man, we have, our scholarship budget is the equivalent of 18 scholarships. and you're giving the maximum of 36 scholarships on the Division II level.
Yeah.
We have half of that at Bowie. So again, I would never say like, oh, we're making, chicken salad out of chicken, what, because our guys are definitely not, like, our guys are nothing to sneeze at, but we got guys that may have to commute. We got guys that might have to take out a loan, that might have to do this, like, so our guys really they use the term like getting out the mud. Our guys really get it out the mud, and it shows up on Saturday. They approach the game, every single game, like they have something to prove. So it's one of those things where I'm sure, obviously we'll never know, who we could and couldn't beat out of this year's top HBCUs. But I would really, really challenge people to really do some research and really go and look at the numbers and look at our body of work this year. When you talk about this year's national champion, but just kind of go back and look. I mean, you look, like I said, South Carolina State won the MEAC this year. A&T was still winning the MEAC when we started winning the CIAA. Alcorn was running the SWAC when we started winning the CIAA. So times have changed in every other conference. Miles was winning the SIC. Now Albany State won it this year. So everybody else has kind of been paired. It's kind of been that parity. It's kind of been that back and forth thing. And we're still sitting at the top of the mountain in our conference.
Absolutely.
That's a great point.
So I want to ask this. I want to ask this. So you mentioned that you guys had from the transfer portal, North Carolina, you had guys from Georgetown. But those guys coming from high major to mid-major D1s, how are you able, you and Coach Wilson and the rest of the coaching staff, to get those guys to buy in? Obviously, they want to be there because they wouldn't have went there if they didn't want to. But how are you guys able to corral them into the buying in what you guys are doing at Bowie State? Because y'all are producing excellence right now. So how are you able to get those guys, like, now I'm leaving a high major going down to D2? How are they able to grasp that concept with you and the rest of the coaching staff?
That's a great question.
It isn't. I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's easy. Because for every 2 and 3 great transfers you get that come in and kind of fall right in line, you get 1 or 2 that want to buck the system, or they want to complain because the food in the cafeteria isn't as good, or we don't stay at a 5-star hotel every time we travel, or we got to ride the bus 8 hours versus getting on the plane. So it's not easy. But the very first thing we do with those guys is we're completely transparent with them. We're straightforward and honest with those guys, and we get them to buy into us as people and really believe in us as men and leaders. And then once you do that, whatever you say from that point, it doesn't matter. And then it doesn't hurt when they walk in and they sit down in Coach Wilson's office and behind him are the last 2 CIAA championship trophies. And then most of those guys, most of the guys, 90% of our roster is from right here in the DMV area. So they know guys already on the team, and those guys, and so they know, like, their homeboy's not gonna tell them, hey, come play for Bowie, like, our coach is good, this and this, and they're not gonna tell them that if it's not real, because now they're looking at damaging their personal relationships. So it's one of those situations where we are very, very careful about who we bring in. Like, we've passed up on some really good football players because if we start doing our background, our background checks on the guy, our research, and red flags start to show up, we realize that, like, one kid is not worth us, because one, as you all know from being on teams, one kid can really spoil it for the whole team. Even on the football team, like, the cancer is going to spread quickly. Mm-hmm. So we try to make sure that we want to match up what we see from a kid as well as what we're told about a kid with what we see on film. Like, if you look right now, like, we lose high school kids every year because we're not early offering. Like, we're not going to go to a camp and see a kid, he may run a 4.5 40 and jump out the gym and catch everything, and we still probably won't offer him because we don't know that kid.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the football player, but you don't know the kid. And the NCAA only gives us, 20 hours a week with these kids.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing for the rest of the time? Is this a kid that's going to be in the dorm smoking weed every day and not going to class and tearing up the dormitory? You know, is this a kid whose parents are going to hover over them the whole time they're in the program and not allow us to coach and develop him? So we are very, very, very meticulous about our entire recruiting process. You know, about our entire recruiting process, even with transfers. You know, and we've been fortunate. You know, like I said, like the kid from UNC, I coached with his dad when I first started coaching, like back in 2003, 2004. Okay. You know, so I knew what kind of home he came from. You know, I will meet with any before we offer a kid a scholarship or a spot on our team, we have to have a face-to-face meeting. We have to, whether it's over Zoom, whether it's in person, because I gotta look you in your eyes, and I want you to look me in my eyes and know that everything I'm telling you is real. You know, mm-hmm. I want to feel your body. I want to read your body language and see, are you really about what you say you're about? Man, again, you have some kids that'll get over and they'll be able to deceive you, but for the most part, if you kind of trust your process that you go through within recruiting or accepting transfers, you'll hit way more than you miss.
Absolutely. So I want to,
Coach Sewell, let me say this real quick. I want to hit this comment. I'm gonna hit about 3 different things, and I'll let you go.
Yeah.
It says when it comes to Bowie, either they don't know, don't show, or don't know what's going on in the DMV. I love that comment. Shout out to Boys in the Hood. They play a strong brand of football, and that's how they hang their hat over there, man. And that's why I love having Coach Sewell in the stream. So us SWAC fans, us MEAC fans understand that it's a whole other hard-nosed brand of football in a different affiliation. So appreciate that comment. And Maurice also says, Coach speaking that good gospel. Hey, I don't bring slouches on my channel, man.
Yes, sir.
I get it. My channel's monetized. It ain't a huge channel, but I don't bring no slouches over here, man. I don't. Because I never want to cheapen the brand. My point for every post I put out, I want y'all to learn something. Learn something you didn't know. And that's what, if you get 10 views, 1,000, 10,000, that's fine. But I want you to take something from these streams. And lastly, Coach, I thought that was a great point. And I'm actually gonna have Coach Talvin Hester on here at Texas Tech. As you know, he coached at Prairie View as well. He was one of the first ones. Excuse me. I'm gonna say it. We had an opportunity to get Gary Flowers, man. He came from Oklahoma State, like a dog, like NBA level player. And Coach Talvin was one of the ones like, nope, don't bring him. He gonna mess your program up. And he only went on to coach at San Jose State, coach at where was he at Oral Roberts, La Tech, and now at Texas Tech. So he know what he's talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
U of H. So this is a guy, when he's at Prairie View, at the beginning of his career, he's like, nope, don't take Gary Flowers. He gonna come mess your program up. And I think that's apropos to what you were saying, Coach, that you don't bring everybody in, no matter how good they are, because it take one bad seed to torpedo your program. If y'all don't know, and no disrespect to the brother, he has some issues with cohesion with programs. Oklahoma State, I believe, where the big program he was at, and you just really got to vet people out properly, because you just take anybody on, it's going to be really hard to convince people to buy into your program. And I'll end it here. The Cowboys saw that when they brought in Everson Griffin, when they brought in Dontario Poe. They cut both of them because they didn't fit the system. So you would cut 2 guys who are former, all pros for people to buy in, and that's a real thing. So go ahead, Will.
Yeah, they're just simple yes or no question. You can kind of, go into detail if you want. I do a lot of AAU stuff, and I'm telling parents all the time, watch your behavior when you're in the, in the stands, or you're in the hallways, or whatever it may be. You can go into detail, simple yes or no question. Do college coaches recruit parents as well?
Of course.
Thank you.
Of course. We it's funny, we have a kid who's he's one of our best offensive players now. And and my head coach, we were actually outside. This is kind of like, you know, a HBCU thing. We were outside at a tailgate after the game, and, you know, a bunch of the parents were around. And my coach told him, he said, man, I almost didn't recruit your kid because there was a parent that was acting the ass at the game I came to, and I thought it was his dad. He said, but then when I met you and realized who you were, it kind of, you know, it kind of eased my concern, because he said I wouldn't, if that was this kid's parent, I would have never recruited him.
Excellent. That's all I want to know. I'll try to get parents to kind of understand this. Like, hey, your behavior reflects on coaches, man, because they see you at the game, and then when the game's over, they see you in the hallways, you know, because they got to exit out the same door most times, especially AAU basketball. They got to exit out the same door, so they get to see you how you really are. And I'm trying to tell them, dog, you are on watch as soon as you enter the door, just like your kid is, man. So I just wanted to, you know, kind of get that out there for the parents that are in here who have young men, young ladies. It's the same in both sports, or whatever sport it may be.
Hey, man, who giving you all this, man? Y'all hit that like button, man. At least hit the like button, man. Exactly. We got Coach Sewell taking time out of his busy schedule, man. This is a very successful coach. Man, I'm privileged to know, you know, on a personal level, you know, for better part of about 10, 11 years. So, man, y'all hit the like button, please. You know, again, I'm bringing people on that's going to help edify you and understand things going on around you.
Yep.
So, yeah, man, so Coach Sewell, man, you want to add anything else to the Bowie State plight where, you know, we get out the mud, we get guys out, we vet them properly, we go and win, we don't lose. Anything else that the populace should know about why Bowie State should be the HBCU National Champions, man?
No, I mean, I think we've pretty much covered it all. At the end of the day, what we know is we know for a fact that we're the CIAA champion. We know for a fact that we played in the NCAA national quarterfinals. Those are things that nobody's opinion can take away from us, and those are things that we're very proud of. We won the most games in school history, and we had the longest winning streak in the nation outside of the team that won a national championship. You know, so like those, and I mean the Division II national championship is what I'm referring to. So those are things that nobody's opinion can ever take away from us, and those are things that our young men will forever be able to walk around with their heads held high and their chests poked out and brag about. So, you know, it's going to be, I saw somebody put in the chat, yes, we were named, I think Box the Roll or somebody named us as the overall HBCU National Champion. We were named, we were unanimously voted as the mid-major or Division II National Champions by every publication who splits the two. So man, we are extremely proud of the work that we've put in as a program, from a coaches and player standpoint, from a fan standpoint, and it's just an honor to even have, like, one of my friends text me one day and was like, man, like he didn't even go to college, I don't think, and he was like, man, like it was crazy to be, I think he was on one of the Twitter spaces, I think HBCU Game Day or something. And he was like, bro, like it was crazy for people to be saying Bowie State in the same sentence as Jackson State and FAMU and South Carolina State, because these are traditional powerhouse HBCU football programs. And now, whether you want to or not, when you talk about who are the best HBCU programs, you have to mention us. You may not say we're the best, you may not say we're the champion, but you have to mention us, and that's, to me, that's an accomplishment within itself.
Absolutely.
I love that, because at the end of the day, this stuff helps you to recruit, man. I don't care what people, because, you know, in reality, a lot of people are short-sighted. A lot of people argue on short-term things, and you guys, I like how humble you are, Coach Sewell, because if I was in your shoes, I would be a lot more, man, I would be talking my shit. I would let the cojones drop because I don't care. But you are a very humble man, and that's what I've always admired about you.
Well, listen,
because
I probably would too, but But my head coach is a very humble guy, and I get called to the principal's office all the time for something I say on social media, all the time. So I'm trying my best as I end 21 and head into 22. I'm trying my best to at least be like what they call. I'm trying to do. I think the young guys call it a humble brag. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to do that right now. I'm trying to spit facts and remain calm at the same time. But trust me, if we were all in the room. If you put me in a room with coaches from all them schools, I will stand on the table.
Yes, sir.
I will literally stand on the table for Bowie State.
Yes, sir. I gotta give him
I believe it because I know you. Soon turned up, man.
I'm about to say.
Soon as turned. Hey, man, one of my first memories of Coach Sewell. Hey, one of my first memories. Man, we went to a karaoke thing, like the coaches at PV. And Coach Sewell, that's when he had the dreads back in the game. But that boy did that little John that I don't give a boy. I was like, man, this dude wild, man. I don't know this dude like that, but this dude wild, man.
Getting it in, man. Getting it in.
That's one of my first memories of Coach Sewell, man. So,
but
yeah.
By the end of it, the whole crowd was participating, man. You got to get the crowd involved.
That's facts.
Oh, man, I love it.
Hey, I don't think he even knew all the words to the song, but he had everybody into it, man. He had the dreads going. That was enough.
Fake it till you make it, man. Fake it till you make it.
Hey, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I got another
question.
Man.
It's been a hell of a discussion, man. I just got back. I had to walk to the store real quick.
Yeah, you had
my shirt down. So I get back on camera.
So, before you get in there, I got another question.
Yeah.
And again, I like to.
You got another question?
Yeah. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe. And so I like to talk to parents and and players to give them kind of an insight about collegiate sports. You mentioned how hard you guys practice and how hard you guys watch film. One part of it is, can you explain how that is? I don't think parents and players understand how hard you have to practice at the collegiate level. And then secondly, oh my God, dang, I just lost my train of thought. Secondly was, there it is. Do you have open practices where you invite recruits and parents to come watch you guys practice?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, man, for us, our guys will tell you, like, the practice is harder than the game most of the time. And that's no knock on our opponent. It's just that we challenge each other all the time, like physically and mentally, every day in practice. And we put our guys in bad situations in practice so that when the game comes around, we know how our guys are going to respond to adversity. When we won our second playoff game, we were down 10-7 with like under 2 minutes left in the game, or maybe 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. We went right down the field 3 plays and scored the game-winning touchdown and forced a fumble on the next drive, because our guys never panic, because we've been in, we do scenarios, and we may be in the middle of a drill and our coach may blow the whistle and put the ball on the 30-yard line and tell our offense they got 70 yards to go with no timeouts and got to score a touchdown. So we are just trying to mentally and physically challenge our guys, push them to the max, so that on Saturday it's more about them reacting and playing off of instincts versus being nervous and having to think through the game the whole time. And your second question was, I'm trying to remember.
Open practice. Do you guys have open practice? Open invites.
Oh yeah. So what we do is we have a situation where at Bowie we only have 4 full-time coaches at Bowie. That's myself, the offensive coordinator, my linebackers coach, and our head coach. Our O-line coach doubles as a strength coach, so he's on campus all day, but he's not with football all day. So we practice at 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights, which gives all of our part-time coaches the opportunity to get off work, kind of do what they got to do and then make it to practice. Well, we also use that as a night where we invite recruits and their families out. A lot of times you'll have coaches, they'll bring their entire senior classes out to watch us practice. And we'll tell them, hey, make yourself at home. Now, don't come on the field, but you can come if we're doing individual drills, you can walk right up by the drill and watch and listen to what the coaches are saying. And we're going to be ourselves during that time. You know, it's not going to be one of those things where we say, hey, guys, you got to watch what you're saying, or you got to do this. Like, you know, there's been some altercations in some of those practices. There's been, you know, some heated moments in some of those practices. But at the end of the day, they get to see why we've had the success that we've had as a program.
Absolutely. Love it.
I love it. I love it. Because, I mean, if you play at a high enough level, you know that practice should be so hard that the game is like fun. You should be situationally sound.
Right.
I think Bill Belichick is probably the best at that. So, again, you're not guessing as far as preparation. So it's good to hear that that's how you guys run that program out there in Bowie. Because I'm telling you, a lot of programs, they do not do it like that way. You would think everybody's on an equal playing field, but that is not necessarily the case. I've seen it on so many levels. It ain't the case. So that just gives more validity to like the consistency that you've seen from that program, man.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
So yeah, man. If the crowd doesn't have any more, man, that's all I got on my end, man. Will, you got anything else?
Yeah, I'm looking at one more comment. Maurice Leary says, let's be clear. If we're talking programs, it's Bowie, A&T, and Alcorn, I'm sorry. And JSU is just coming though, but they haven't won the bowl yet, and one season doesn't make a program. Excellent point. Coach Sanders and his coaching staff, they came like a flash of lightning, and they've taken the HBCU world by storm, and not only that, just college football by storm. Coach Sewell, what are your thoughts on Coach Prime and the attention that he's bringing to HBCUs? Because I know there's old blue bloods who don't like the attention. They want to keep the things the same. What are your thoughts about what he's impacting on the overall product?
Another good question.
HBCUs?
Well, let me say this first and foremost. You probably won't find a bigger Deion Sanders fan in the world. Like, I literally have, if I didn't have on a sweatshirt, I would still. I literally have. I gave myself the nickname Prime Tone when I was in high school because I thought I was Deion Sanders. I have it tattooed on my arm. I'm not joking. So like, I would never say nothing bad about the man. Like he was literally my idol as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, man, I think it has its pluses and minuses.
Mm-hmm.
I think that obviously he is going to bring more attention, but I think that everyone now has to get their house in order because with that attention is going to come scrutiny, and you have to make sure that, okay, you want people to look at you, make sure that they're going to be, make sure that you're giving them something good to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some people are afraid of the light being shined or shown on them. I don't know the correct usage of the word, but I think some people are afraid of being in that spotlight. Okay, appreciate you, Cliff. That's that Prairie View producing productive people right there. I think that I think that some people are afraid of the light being shown, because they know that their houses aren't in order.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, like, I was a little, for me, my only issue with these quote unquote celebrity hires, I'm not saying I want to see all those guys do well. I want to see every HBCU do well, but it now puts a guy like myself who's kind of put that work in for a long time and kind of done things the right way. It kind of puts me in a position where it's like, well, will I ever get an opportunity if I decide I want to lead my own program? Will I ever get that opportunity? Because I don't have NFL on my resume as a coach or a player. So kind of where does that leave someone like me? But what I will say is there's an old saying that there's no such thing as bad publicity. And I think that's kind of what it is. Like, okay, now people are paying attention to HBCUs. Now what I would ask those people to do who are paying attention to HBCUs is look beyond the surface. understand that Jackson State had an excellent season, and we're very proud of them in the HBCU community because what they did needs to be commended because of the simple fact that they were under the spotlight. The hardest thing you can do is be under the spotlight and still perform at the level they did. Like that's admirable to say the least. But understand that you still have, and I think the Celebration Bowl kind of put it on display. You have some great coaches that have been in HBCU football for a long time. Like, again, I'm not going to argue with the person who made the article, but you can't. To me, Damon Wilson is the best head coach in HBCU football because I know what that man does on an everyday basis and what he has to deal with on an everyday basis, and still gets his team to perform the way that they do. Like, I don't think anybody else has to do that. You know, I think that a lot of people are able to just be coaches, and there are a lot of times where Coach Wilson is not even on a practice field when we start practice because he's in the administration building or he's somewhere dealing with this or dealing with that, and you can kind of tell it's like a weight lifted off his shoulder when he gets on the field. Okay, like I finally get to do football.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this before I leave. Bowie State even has a hand in the success of Jackson State University football because Coach Gary Harrell, his first offensive coordinator job was at Bowie State.
There you go.
Most people don't know
We were
that.
just talking about him before you showed up.
So I heard y'all. So as much as people want to exclude it from the conversation, you really can't help it. You really can't help it. Like we are here and we're not going nowhere.
Got that pipeline going, yes, sir.
We're here, we ain't going nowhere. And I want to say this too,
Yes, indeed.
from a pipeline perspective. Man, guys like KJ Black, who's in the discussion for being, in the Prairie View coaching search. I hope that works out properly. But KJ is a guy, SWAC bred that you're gonna hear a lot about, man. I want to put that name out there because I believe in him because he's been on the show twice. A buddy of mine. I believe in him a lot. And so to your point, KJ, for the non-NFL guys, I'm sorry, KJ, Tone, to the non-NFL guys who have SWAC equity, who have HBCU equity, I do want to see these guys getting promoted as well. Not just the big names like the Kevin Summerlins, the Ray Lewises who's been rumored. I think the homegrown talent needs to make sure we getting opportunities for them as well.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man. So you got anything for us for you depart, man? I know you've given us an hour of your time. We appreciate that. Anything you want to drop before the show comes to an end, Sewell?
No, man. I'm honored and blessed to that you guys asked me to come here and talk to you. I'm never going to pass up an opportunity to talk about Bowie State football. I'm a Bowie State alum. Played ball there. Bowie State is a huge reason why I am the man I am today. Definitely the good parts. But it's important that I think people like you emphasize. It's important that people realize that there are a lot of good HBCU football programs, and if we truly are about, like you said something earlier that was profound. Like, we cannot be mad at the mainstream college football fans or supporters for not giving us our shine, but then we look down our nose at each other. I think that's an asinine thought process, and we have to make sure that, hey, okay, we're not anybody's little brother. We're not anybody and again, I don't make the decisions, but I'm sure if you ask our players, if you were to call our players right now and say, hey, we got 2 weeks, we're gonna get our equipment and we're gonna go play somebody from the SWAC or the MEAC, they would say, Coach, line it down.
Let's get it.
Like, we're not ducking nobody. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
let's just make sure that we give respect and credit where it's due, not just Bowie State, Albany State, Miles College, Fayetteville State, a lot of the Langston, NAIA, Langston, Langston has been dominating on their level for a long time. So let's make sure that we understand that if we're going to be unified, we have to truly be unified and help each other raise the profile of HBCU football. And the more success that we all have, the better light it shines on all of us.
Yes, sir.
That's profound. Even Morehouse, even Tuskegee. I had the opportunity to go down there to see Morehouse's. I was in Atlanta 2 weeks ago. See Morehouse's setup they got.
Nice,
bro. Like it opens your eyes because again, I'm SWAC biased. I will admit that. So when you invited me, Sewell, to come out there to Bowie, it was a pleasure because I need to see more than just a SWAC. Because again, I see every school in SWAC many times over.
Indeed.
But to go see other entities like Morehouse, to see I don't think Clark got no stuff out there, but to see Morehouse's situation and all the story, history through that program, it does open my mind to see other stuff, to see Paul Quinn, to see campuses like Philando Smith out there in Mississippi, to see Tougaloo College. Like, it's a lot of other HBCUs out there that we need to have awareness for. So, and that's my main point for this stream here, man. So, I really appreciate you, bro. Will, you got anything before we leave?
Nah, man, it's been great, man. I don't, Coach Sewell, this is my first time interacting with you, man. I really, really enjoyed it, man. I hope you have much success in your career, continue to grow, continue to blossom. Merry Christmas. Be safe out there, man. I know a lot of your guys are probably on Christmas break, making sure they're being safe and understanding the situation and what they're in and what's going on with COVID and around the world. So, man, I could wish you much success in your program at Bowie State, and y'all just keep standing. Appreciate you having me on, man. I love it.
Yeah, I hope y'all win every game unless y'all play Prairie View. I hope y'all lose in the worst fashion imaginable. Other than that.
Oh, crap.
Hey, man, I respect it. I respect it. But like I say, man, I appreciate y'all guys, man. I gotta go. I gotta go spend some of my hard-earned money from winning football games on other people. So
there you go.
Happy holidays to you all as well, I guess.
Yes, sir.
Salute, man. Salute. Yes, sir, man.
All right.
Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat, man.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great one.
You too.
Absolutely, man. Y'all hit the like button on the way out, man. We appreciate y'all because this is important. We talking SWAC football, we talking SWAC sports, and me and Will gonna get on this. And drum roll, we're actually gonna have DJ Ron Cut. If y'all know how he has his channel popping with HBCU, he's gonna be incorporated what we're doing going forward. So just a little teaser on that, man. So yeah, man. Y'all get ready for what's gonna happen, man, because this HBCU movement is rolling. And I want y'all to have quality content, not just people just, clicking on something and trying to
put out that bullshit.
But yeah, there you go. Putting that bullshit out there. We're going to give y'all quality, man. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me between the game sports. Guys like SWAC Buzz, guys like between DJ's Ron Cut. And we're going to keep it rocking, man. So until next time, God damn it, we're going to let Kendrick Perkins take us home.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Hoop Jargon, man. I'm going to add you to the crew, man. This crew called Hoop Jargon. They've been getting at it, man. They the ones that's gonna grill you, man, because they majority are all Houston people. So that's
shout out to Hoop Jargon.
Shout out to Hoop Jargon.